Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. If you're new around here, please don't forget to subscribe, like and leave your comment down below when you're done watching the video. Now, women are rejecting marriage, and not only that, even those that are in marriages are starting to see just how not beneficial the institution is for them, how much it takes away from them, their energy, their time, their freedom and independence. And there are some women who think that they only have to find a man who doesn't cheat, doesn't lie, or doesn't physically abuse them. But unfortunately, you can have a man who doesn't do any of those things and still feel suffocated by marriage.
It's just not worth it dealing with someone else every single day of your life. Every day. Every day you gotta deal with somebody. Is marriage even worth it? It's not. It's not. At some point you're gonna realize that it's always best to just be alone. Because I've been married for about 7 years and I don't even know if this is worth it. And not saying that there's anything necessarily wrong. There's nothing wrong, and that's the point. I don't even know why I'm upset. I'm just not thinking that I made the right decision. And I have a good man. I do. And that's not the point. The point is you really do lose yourself. You lose your sense of individuality. You lose your sense of peace. And this could be even to a good man. You're gonna lose something, and I don't think it's worth it, at all. I've always had a dream of, getting out of my hometown, city, and moving on, moving forward. Life is supposed to be experience. We're supposed to be doing new things and traveling and all that, and I do all of that. But at some point, I don't know if I want to continue doing this every single day of my life. Always checking in with someone, always having to consider their feelings, it's always somebody else. You're never alone. You never have a moment to yourself. You never can do that. And I don't know, and there's gonna be some bitches out there that say, oh no, you should not. No. Be fucking weird and not a real-ass couple. But I really want girls to know, even if it's absolutely worth it, I don't think it is. Even if you found the most perfect man, it's not worth it. It's not. It's always gonna be best to just be alone. And maybe that's why so many men tell older women they're gonna die alone and be so sad. I'm sad with a great man. Maybe it's just not my personality. And I know girls are out there and they're dying for a relationship like mine. He takes care of me, but I'm sorry, you can't, I can't even really barely deal with myself and my own emotions. Imagine somebody that you know for such a short amount of time, because you're never gonna know that man you think you do, and that's just not in a negative way. I just don't think marriage is for me, and I'm tired of it, and I don't know what else to do, because this is imagine living a fairy tale and it's nothing like you imagined it. You're living your literal fairy tale, and it's not what you want. It's not what you want. Even if you think that you want it, even if it's exactly what you dreamed of, it's still just, I don't know.
Unless you meet a person who understands that you are your own individual and gives you time and space to be yourself, to still be able to pursue your dreams and your passions, you're still gonna feel suffocated no matter how quote unquote good the man is. Because you have to understand that the definition of a good man in the society, that a good man is a man that may not cheat or physically abuse you, and a man who financially provides for his family. But a man like this can still be emotionally unavailable, passive aggressive, and misogynistic in many other ways. This is why I always feel like, as a woman, when you are in a relationship with a man, you are always Bob the Builder or Barbara the Builder, because even if you don't build that man financially, you still have to build him emotionally. You still have to teach him how to properly express his emotions, how to properly set boundaries, and how to respect your boundaries, etc. This reminds me of this lady that I saw on TikTok who was saying how she married a nice guy, but this man is never involved in any decision making. He never plans holidays. He never expresses how he truly feels. He just nods and goes along with everything she plans. And in as much as this can be attractive to some women in the beginning, as time goes by, it becomes exhausting, because in the end, you want to feel like you are in a relationship with an adult that has a mind of their own, not a child. And of course, people were coming for her because, girl, he's a perfect man. You know, she's a good man, Savannah. Or at least you get a man that provides for you. At least this, at least that. And this always reminds me of this iconic tweet that said, all men benefit from the actions of violent men. Keeps women in check. It allows men to perform the barest minimum and still feel good about themselves. The existence of violent men grants quote-unquote good men awards for basic decency. Like they get to do the barest minimum and everyone claps for them like they just saved the world.
So what's the one lesson you wish you know at 20?
Never married.
Really? May I ask why?
In marriage, a woman, it's everything is on top of the woman's head. Men just go to work. I have to look after children, after food, after house, everything. It's very, very difficult sometimes. It's not fair. Especially when I look around here, sometimes woman is in black and man is walking, woman is behind. I said, what kind of life it is, yes?
Yeah.
For all women, not only for us. Yeah. Men dominate.
Think like the women can be single or not choose to marry nowadays.
Yes, I believe so. Because now I retired, my husband died, and I feel now I've got a new life. But now I'm single. Completely different life. That's why I said, why are you married before? I wish all women the best. Have a good life, be happy, and be healthy.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
So I'm sure this is because this is what marriage was set up to be, right? Like, I know we as women, we're sold this dream fantasy of marriage and how we're supposed to aspire to it. It's an honor and so on and so forth. But we forget the origins of marriage. Marriage was an establishment to allow men to own women as property. I mean, that is what marriage was historically, and in many parts of the world, that is what marriage continues to be. Like, I've lived in regions of the world, you know, I've spent 6 years of my developmental years, starting as a teenager, living in the MENA region, so the Middle East and North Africa. And I met girls who would run, like they would desperately run away from marriage, because marriage is, it's more honest over there. Like, you know, there's not a lot of fantasy and illusion like there is in the United States, unfortunately.
Save the marriage trip. Jeremy is right there. Hasn't looked back once. Let's see. He realizes that I'm not right behind him. He's like, right, the tan hat. You see him? Nope, actually I can't even see him anymore. Let's see. Wow, he's really ahead of me. This is gonna be romantic.
What's your biggest regret in life?
Married.
What about it?
You have teeth, you bite at.
Tell me about the teeth.
Betrayal, everything.
What advice do you have for people that, you know, is kind of seeking to get married right now? What would you say to them?
Seek God.
Well, let me ask you, are you divorced?
No.
Okay, so there was a breakdown in your marriage, that's what you're saying?
Yes.
Are you comfortable saying what caused that breakdown? What's one of the things that you're most proud of that brought you to the place that you're at right now?
Christ.
What's your name?
Toya.
Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And you know, it's always funny when men talk about the good old days when marriage lasted forever and women were this and that. It shows that these people never really sit down with their grandmothers and even their mothers and listen to their stories, because these ladies never lie to us younger women. We all know about the traumatic lives they've had to live and endure in the name of marriage, and why they always push us to go to school, be independent, have our own, because of the horrors they've had to deal with, because they had nothing on their name and had nowhere to go. So staying with an abusive man was the only option they had.
Okay, there's like the craziest part of divorce that nobody talks about and nobody prepares you for. After being married for however long you've been married, in my case 20 plus years, this person will become a total stranger to you. And when you see them, you look at them like, how was I married to that person? Like, we don't even fit together. What was I thinking? And 20 years, 3 kids, all those memories, and that person's a total stranger. And the craziest part is that anger, that bitterness, all that, you're just looking at them like with an ick and a genuine indifference. Like, no idea what goes on in their life, don't care, don't want to know, and they're really a stranger. Think about that. You shared a house, you have children, all those memories, deepest, darkest secrets. And now you look at them like, oh yeah. Like, I'm telling you, when I see my ex, I think to myself, what the fuck was I thinking? Crazy.
Like, I've literally been having women crashing out in my comment section for the last 2 days because they're like, this can't be true. What do I do now if I can't have a boyfriend in love? Like, you know that God did not only put you on this planet to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, right? You know that God did not put you on this planet just to get married, right? You know that when he made your soul, that was not your only assignment, right? I don't think people understand how deep that this stuff goes. Do you understand that so many women don't even know what their actual purpose on this planet is outside of love? Do you understand how many women's life journeys are stopped prematurely because they got involved with the wrong man? Y'all don't understand how deep this stuff goes. How many women have thrown away their life because of a man? I want you guys to remember that there's no boyfriend and girlfriend in the Bible. There's no boyfriend and girlfriend in the Bible. Like, you're in a fake, whatever you're in, right? There's no such thing as boyfriend and girlfriend. There's no such thing. It's either single or married. And marriage is only a thing because it is a contract. There's a business agreement. Please look at Jay-Z and Beyonce, for example. They are husband and wife, but they are in a business agreement. You need to understand, as much as Jay-Z loves Beyonce and as much as Beyonce loves Jay-Z, if at any moment Jay-Z genuinely destroyed or could potentially destroy Beyonce's career or reputation, I have no second guess in my body that she would leave that relationship. I wish that y'all would understand that y'all are trying to marry for money. You need to understand you are a slave. Like, you're actually a slave. Y'all think that marrying into a rich family or marrying wealthy is going to be your savior when actually you're signing up to be a slave. Your father is giving your hand to another man in marriage. That means this is not about you anymore. You have to understand, when you sign up to be a wife, you are just signing up to be a vessel for somebody else to carry out their purpose through you. Like, that was a word. Hold up. When you become a wife, you're signing up to allow yourself to be a vessel for somebody to carry out their purpose through you. Through you. All these young ladies are in my comments like, I got my boyfriend's passwords, I'm all in his phone, he don't ever do nothing. You're dating a loser. Like, I'm sorry, but you're dating a loser. There's no situation where a man that respects his own self, his autonomy, and his own privacy is going to give all of the information that he holds personal to himself to a woman that respects herself. This is pure insecurity. If you need your boyfriend's every single aspect of his life, if you need to be surveilling that, you have control problems. You are a control freak. You have a codependent relationship. You are not happy. You are insecure. And I'm sorry that a lot of y'all don't understand that. If you need to follow a man around just to feel safe, you are in a broken relationship and you need to get out. A lot of women are leaving this planet with absolutely nothing to show for themselves. Absolutely no purpose, absolutely no plan, absolutely no execution on the sole reason that they've been put here on this planet, because they are so focused about devoting their life to a man. And that man is living out his purpose. That man is doing what God placed him on this earth to do. Hey, and most times he's not even doing that, but at least he's getting closer than you. So I don't make videos to bash men. I don't make videos to bash women. I make videos to allow women to understand that your life is bigger than love. Your life is bigger than romance. We all want love. We all want the love story. We all want the happy ending and the Prince Charming. But let me help you understand. Only fools fall in love. Falling in love is not something that happens to you. It's a choice that you make. And so many women do not understand the ability of detachment. They don't understand that nobody in this planet belongs to you. Everybody is sovereign. Everybody has autonomy. Everybody has their privacy. Nobody has to answer to you. And y'all be wanting these men to answer to you and do what you want to do and go. Ask how many women have had to force or give ultimatums to their boyfriends just to get a ring. And y'all will put these women on a pedestal chasing marriage, not knowing that the only reason that most of these women are married is because they told their boyfriends, if you do not propose to me, I am leaving. And that will get any man to straighten up quickly. Ask somebody. So I'm really tired of the pick me agenda. I'm tired of women consistently in my comments telling me how great their boyfriend is. I really don't give a fuck. What I really want us to start talking about more is how great can you be? How amazing can you be? How loyal can you be? Instead of telling me about how loyal your man is, how loyal can you be? How respectful can you be? How much can you focus on your own life and your own purpose? How much can you prioritize your own needs and your future and not a man? I want to start having that conversation and stop talking about, oh, he would never cheat. Oh, he would never leave. You don't know that man. You don't know that man. And a lot of y'all need to realize that you only know somebody as much as they allow you to know them. You do not know anybody. And a lot of you guys don't even know yourselves. A lot of you guys don't even know yourselves. So if you think you know yourself, probably don't. And you don't know that man. So, and I'm sorry that I didn't hold your hand when I said it, but I just had to say it.
I don't want to say love is a lie, but the whole idea of love has been weaponized against women in order to get us to provide labor for free or without any kind of recognition or acknowledgement. Like if someone's a chef and they cook food for people, that's a job and they're compensated for it and they're appreciated for it. If someone is a nanny and they take care of children, that's a job and they're compensated for and appreciated for it. If someone is a SW or even a mistress, they're usually compensated and appreciated for it. But when you become a wife, when you become a mother, you are not compensated or appreciated for any of these things. I don't have a good relationship with my mother. And the older I've gotten, the more I'm like, oh, okay. Even though I don't think she was a very good mother, it makes a lot of sense why she wasn't a good mother. Because what a thankless, shitty job for 98% of women who occupy it. And we're supposed to do it all with a smile on our face because love. Because you love your children. That's why you take care of them. Because you love your husband. That's why you married him. That's why you feed him. That's why you pick up after him. That's why you forgive him. That's why you're romantic with him, even if you don't feel like being romantic with him. Because he has needs and you love him and it's your job to fulfill them. It's your job to bend over backwards for your husband and your children because you love them and that's your reward. If you date men, it's supposed to be because you're trying to find love. Any other reason would be shallow, and you're a shallow, vapid bitch if you have any other intention or reason to want to date a man. Men, on the other hand, well, they have to ease into love. They're not so prone to love. They're visual creatures. They want someone who's super young. They want someone who's super hot. You know, love isn't so much their thing. Sure, they love their children, but not like a mother could love their children. Sure, they love their wives, but not like a woman loves a man. You see how love implicates women and lets men off the hook? Now, again, I'm not saying love doesn't exist, but kind of like religion, it started off being a quintessential part of being a human being and a very real thing, and it was hijacked and weaponized against the people that it was made to oppress.
And I absolutely agree on the women who don't even know who they are outside of a man. Because you see, the way we usually say women are not a rehabilitation center for broken men, I absolutely believe there are women who uses men and love to escape from themselves. Those women that are never single, always jumping from one relationship to another without even pausing and doing some self-introspection. Those are the women who are always the victim whenever the relationship ends, never taking accountability and becoming aware of their own toxic patterns that always lead them to picking the wrong partners, never becoming aware of their own traumas and the conditioning that has led them to looking at themselves the way they do and looking at relationships the way they do. And can we talk about the parts where your father hands you over to your husband? Like, that part of the wedding have always made me cringe because it's so symbolic and so deep. Like, I've seen women cry their lungs out because their dad was not there to hand them over. I've seen women skip their own mothers who gave birth to them and go find an uncle, a distant uncle, just so they can have a man hand them over. Like, we are so conditioned as women. Like, the programming is so deep, it's not even funny. Because if you chose this man by yourself, why do you need other people handing you over to him like you some property? But I'm sure some people are not gonna agree with me because it's just a tradition. But yeah, a tradition that was made by who? For who? For what reason? Why is the man not handed over? Even with the bride price, like where I'm from, only the men are allowed to negotiate your bride price. Women, including your own mother who birthed you, are not even allowed to even show their face. And even if they're allowed to be there, they are not allowed to even speak, because this is a man's business. They sit down and discuss how educated you are, how many kids you have, if you've been married before or you're still pure, and then they decide your price like it's some auction. But these are the kinds of things that women find romantic, unfortunately. And if you do, hey, do you, but don't lie to yourself about the history of these traditions, that it all boils down to you being nothing but a property.
This is why you will probably regret getting married. You would think, how is it possible that so many marriages fail during a time that we have all the knowledge in the world? But trust me, the reasons why we choose the wrong partners are very easy to explain. The problem is that you don't really know yourself. When you describe your future husband, you want him to be fun to be with, good looking, kind, and he needs to have a decent job. But this could be anybody. In order for you to make a more specific list with requirements, you have to start digging deep into yourself to understand what kind of man would actually fit you and make you content. But here's the thing, the men you meet are also stuck at the same level of self-knowledge as you are. So then you have two partners who show up with a bag filled with childhood traumas and whatnot, and although they have the best of intentions, they just don't know how to make marriage work. If we would live in an ideal society, there would be something like preschool before marriage. In this preschool, both partners would fill out detailed psychological questionnaires. It's the only way to understand more about yourself and about what kind of partner you should choose. Because now you're just hoping that his good looks and him treating you right, his beautiful blue eyes and his money in the bank will get you through your marriage.
Yeah, I used to really be the girl that wanted to get married, have the big dream wedding, be the perfect wife. But after being a fiance and living with a man and realizing that they don't dream to be the perfect husband, my perspective changed. And I don't know, y'all, it's just something about marrying a man that just feels embarrassing. Like he actually got you to do this. He actually pulled the wool over your eyes. You actually went through with it. And don't get me wrong, we all have been tricked by a man. But the marriage is the ultimate trickery. Like you're the ultimate fool. You fell for the okie doke and now you're stuck with him for life. And I don't know, like the humiliation starts at the vows. Like they always say some bullshit. They need to start having ChatGPT write their vows from now on. And I just don't feel like I'm ever subscribed to the marriage life. I don't want to be nobody's wife. I just feel like it's a humiliation ritual in there somewhere. I can't put my finger on it, but I know it's one in there somewhere.
This is my scolding hot take, and you're either going to be ready to hear this or you're not going to be. Women historically have been slaves. I understand there's different forms of slavery, but women, in the true definition of the word, have been enslaved. Marriage was the act of making women property. Marriage was the way of exchanging women as property. Marriage was the property transfer of a woman between her father and her husband. Regardless of how you feel about it, that's the fact. That was the origination, the original purpose of marriage as a construct. The reason why you see divorce rates rise is because women finally have agency over whether or not we stay in these marriages. The reason why you're seeing marriage rates and birth rates decline is because for the first time in human history, women have had more agency than we've ever had on whether or not we get married in the first place and whether or not we decide to have children. There is a reason why women have been socially conditioned into believing that if we don't have children or if we're not married or a man didn't choose us, that's like the biggest insult to our identity or our value as human beings. I personally disagree with the entire construct of marriage. I believe that marriage signifies the ownership of women, and I disagree with it as a concept as a whole. And if you're not new to my page, you know that I have no intention of ever getting married. I relish in the idea of being single. I do not want to have any children. And I relish in the idea that for the first time, I'm one of the first generations of women who have the freedom to not participate in any of those things. So to me, not only is it not an insult to my identity and does not dictate my worthiness as a human being, it is a privilege that I get to choose not to get married. It is a privilege that I get to choose not to have children. And I believe that as a woman, you should avoid getting married. You should avoid having children. I think if you are even remotely on the fence about any of those concepts, you need to avoid it. Marriage benefits men, and having children benefits the patriarchy. I'm not saying that no one should have children, or that's where it gets kind of like muddy. Like, I think that marriage does have protections for women who do want to have children, or for women who are with a partner who's great. There are legal protections around that marriage works in favor for. But as a general concept, I think marriage represents the enslavement of women. I think marriage represents, and this is just the way it is. This isn't my opinion. This is what it's been historically. Marriage represents the ownership of property that is women. Marriage is a huge deal, and especially as a woman, if you are at all on the fence about getting married, you need to not get married. Fuck the soft life shit. Fuck the not doing anything with your life. Fuck not making your own money. You need to make your own money. That is a privilege. That is a blessing that you live in a time where you can make your own money and you can make something out of your own life. Do not trade this privilege that women have fought for a G-Wagon or for trips to Erewhon. You are worth so much more than that. Your life is worth so much more than that. You live in a time unlike any other in human history. There are women before you who would have given anything to be able to have the opportunities that you have today. They would have given anything. If you marry a rich man, your life will be controlled by him. Your quality of life is going to be dictated by that man. Your relationship may look a certain way today, but it could be very different 10 years from now. It could be very different after you have 4 of his children. It's not worth the Chanel bags. It's not worth the Cartier bracelets. It's not worth the fancy vacations. This is your one life. This is your independence. This is your autonomy. Please just think very long and hard before you enter these contracts, because getting out of marriage, going through a divorce, is a fucking grueling process. Co-parenting with somebody who is being difficult, who is trying to control you, is a all-consuming process. You need to really understand what you're signing up for when you do that. This is not something that you do unless you are absolutely sure. Again, it's super nuanced, and there are legal protections that work in women's favor when it comes to marriage. But if I were to give you any kind of advice, avoid getting married, make your own money, do your own thing with your life. Do not put all your eggs in the basket of a man. Because once you get married and once you have those children, everything is different. You do not have that same freedom anymore. You will not have that same opportunity anymore. You can still make it happen. And there are women who their children are like the best thing. It's like, I totally understand. I respect that. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's going to be very hard and it's going to be very different. Being single and childless is a fucking flex. Okay? It is. It's much better than being in a grueling divorce, being in an unhappy marriage, being controlled by a man, or having to co-parent with someone who's fucking crazy. Please just take this seriously. Okay? You want to know how I really feel? Don't get mad. You're gonna get mad. You want to know how I really feel? I feel like you shouldn't get married. And I know I've already said this, but whenever I go to give advice on all these horror stories that I see, whether it be with like Hailey Bieber or other people, or that trend that's going on right now where it's like, oh, but there used to be a time. I really wish women would stop getting married. And there's always a conversation that's being had around like SW and how like SW sets women back and how it feeds into the patriarchy. And just because a woman chooses to participate in it doesn't mean that it's not still harmful and doesn't mean that it's empowering. And that's a whole nother conversation. But if we're going to say that about SW, I think this is my little opinion. That's probably going to make you mad, but I feel like the same can be said for marriage. Marriage is an antiquated idea. that I believe oppresses women and unrefutably has a history and an origination in the oppression of women. So I feel like we're trying to continue to get something to work that is so flawed from its inception, and it's not going to work. Okay? I don't know what the answers are. It's not something that I personally consider, because I wrote off getting married since I was a little girl. I put together the pieces of what marriage was, and I was like, oh yeah, no, thank you. And it just hurts my heart. Initially my stance was like, some women, that's really what they want in their lives. I'm gonna, I am more of a choice feminist in that way. I'm like, that's what they want. I want them to be able to have the freedom to make choices and to choose the kind of life that they want, and that is what they want, so it's great. But then I see these videos of these young women who are buying into this fairy tale that I believe is it's a lie a little bit, right? And that sounds really cynical, but it doesn't have to be cynical, because life is beautiful and there's so many other things that you can want out of life. But I just feel like with the whole marriage thing, the odds are not stacked in your favor. And I think we need to kind of like dispel the idea a little bit and kind of rethink the way that we see marriage.
Listen, there's always going to be women that wants to get married. So I think the most important thing is that they at least are brutally honest about what they're getting themselves into. They understand that men were raised under this system that taught them that they're entitled to a specific type of treatment simply because they are men. That you as a woman are below them, and that your position is to serve them for little to no reward. Understand that this is how most men think. No matter how good or innocent they pretend to be in the beginning, deep down, this is how most of them think. So if you're gonna choose a man, choose someone who at least has some self-awareness, someone who's done the work and continues to do the work to learn and unlearn things that could potentially make him a toxic partner because of patriarchy, and someone who at least looks at you as an equal instead of a servant.
Reasons why I don't want to get married, I actually made a list because I have ADHD and I will go around the world before I get to the point. And I'm kind of doing that right now. So starting with number 1, studies have shown that single childless women live longer, and I do believe that. I also don't like the idea of sharing my space with someone in the long-term sense. That really freaks me the fuck out. It's actually really disgusting and ghetto. Unless I'm married rich or into land or into, something tangible, I literally wouldn't benefit from it. I don't want kids, and because I don't want kids, I kind of don't really see the point in getting married, because marriage mostly seems like a construct to raise your children in, right? That's just how I view things. I don't want to be emotionally responsible for someone long term. I feel like marriage would be a backup plan for me. I saw someone say that in a marriage, you're going to work 10 times harder for that life of leisure, married to, a provider man, blase, versus just doing it yourself and, working hard and getting your education and doing what you need to do to make sure you can provide the life that you want for yourself. Being the rich man versus marrying the rich man. Being the hypergamous woman that I am, there is always some sort of a benefit for me when it comes to having a man in my life. That's where I draw the line. I'm not looking for anything that goes further than that. I'm not looking for the commitment of marriage. And in order to be in my presence, there are some things that are non-negotiables. And that's just what it is. Those are just some of my many reasons. I don't judge anyone for what they desire. If a person wants to get married or have kids, that's to each their own. Seriously.
Welcome back. I talk a lot on my platforms about why I'm child free and why I'm also anti-marriage. But I'm anti-marriage for myself. I'm not anti-marriage for my friends and family. I just don't see myself ever getting married. Another reason why I don't want to get married is because I am not about to go through the BS that you go through in a divorce, right? Losing assets, having to divide assets. It is my own personal opinion that most marriages are going to end in divorce anyways. Most of them already have, if you really look around. I know plenty of people who are divorced. I know plenty of people who failed at marriage multiple times because they've been married multiple times. So at the end of the day, that's just not a risk I'm willing to take, right? And for the same reasons why I don't want to have kids, right? The number one way I can guarantee that I'll never be a single mother or a baby mama or whatever is to not have kids, right? You have to protect yourself from things. You can't control the law, right? I've seen a lot of people lose things, men and women, lose things in marriages and divorces that was very unfair. Especially if you've acquired things before you got married and then the financial situation changed between you or your husband or whatever. And then now all of a sudden you're taking this and you're taking that, even though it was mine. People will say sign prenups. I see prenups get thrown out all the time. Overturned. Depends on the judge. It depends on the state you're in. It depends on the judge's mood that day. It depends on who has the better lawyer. We know it's not what's true is what you can prove in court. And we know that spouses can have the better lawyers that knows the loopholes, and next thing you know, you're walking away with nothing, even though you worked hard for stuff. Same reason why starting a company and then bringing in investors, and then they end up getting a higher percentage of the company and they vote you out of your own company. Oh my God. Every time I've ever heard anybody go through that, I got pissed for them. Which is why I would never, I would either sell my company outright or whatever, but I just don't see myself putting other people in a position to overthrow me from my own shit, right? I just have the mindset, right? I already think most marriages are going to end in divorce anyway. This is just one of the reasons why I don't want to get divorced. I got to keep saying that because everybody thinks that whatever I talk about in one video, that's the only reason. No, there's 1,000 reasons why I don't want to get married, and there's 3,000 reasons why I don't want to have kids, right? This is just one of the reasons. One of the top reasons, actually, right? I don't want somebody in my house. I don't want somebody to be able to take my shit, right? When we break up, right? I don't date anymore anyways, but when we break up, we can just go our separate ways, right? There's no dividing of assets. There's nothing what I came in, I would just much rather you not have any legal rights to my shit, right? I don't want any legal rights to yours either. I can hold that same energy. We both leave with what we came with, right? That's just to give women something to think about too. Those of you who are contemplating getting a house with a man, I would never fucking get a house with a man and like own one. Have I rented houses with someone before? A couple people, both of my fiancés, yes, I have. But we rented, so it wasn't that big of a deal, right? But buying a house, absolutely not. And I plan on putting my blood, sweat, and tears into this bitch. Like, I'm literally going to have this house custom. It's going to be the exact square footage, the exact amount of acres, all of that. The perfect amount of rooms. I need at least 5 bedrooms. Yes, that sounds excessive to some people. But that's too bad. I still want 5 bedrooms. I have my bedroom. I have my dressing room. I'm going to have an office. I'm going to have a workout / dance studio, and I'm going to have a guest bedroom, period. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm not going to go through all of that and then risk losing it. It's just not going to happen. So there's that. I just wanted to share that little tidbit and give you guys something to think about. Is it worth losing everything that you worked hard for? Is it worth risking losing your credit or ruining your credit? Things like that, right? It's not worth it. You're going to get divorced 9 times out of 10 anyways. It's like, why put yourselves through that? That's just my own personal opinion. I know people are going to disagree, but that is how I feel. And I just wanted to share that because that was on my mind today. I'll catch you guys in the next video.
Good morning, baby. Hey, sleep well? Oh, someone here has a bad case of morning breath. You might need some Listerine, sweetheart. So, on this honeymoon, since we're in Italy, I think it would be really fun to take a gondola today. And I could put my arm around you. And we could just be really happy. And, maybe, if you don't mind, I'd love if you could wear that stunning dress of yours, you know, the one that makes you look like Margot Robbie. Oh, by the way, don't use the bathroom because I was just in there and I don't know how to say this, but the plane came to arrival. Big landing. Why do you look so disgusted? It's just my body functions. Come on. So did you sleep well? Yeah, sorry I woke you up. I had to put on my sleep apnea mask. I know it's not the most sexiest thing, and I never told you when we were dating that I had sleep apnea, but you know, you find new things out about your partner every day, don't ya? This is gonna be such a fun trip, BB.